It finally makes sense why the light really wanted Illidan. Oh, does it, Doran? Well, everybody wants it. Who doesn't want Illidan? I mean, look at him. Come on. Let's see what Doran has to say about why the light really wanted Illidan.
I don't think people realize just how important this event was. The Naru didn't want to convert Illidan because they wanted a light demon hunter. No, they got plenty of powerful weapons in their arsenal. They knew about the prophecy, about the what is to come, about the World Soul Saga, and they wanted one of the main players on their side for this ultimate battle. With the Titan arrival confirmed soon, Sargeras and Illidan are coming back no doubt, as well as the ultimate and final battle of the Light and the Void. And would it not be amazing for the Light to have one of the main players as one of their pawns? The lead Naru Zera was so desperate about this mission and trying to convert him that she
she was gonna force him. She was gonna force the conversion on him. And yes, I think it is all but confirmed. We will see Illidan and Sargeras again in the war within. It has to happen. It has to. It wouldn't make sense for them to just be sitting there when all the other Titans have left to come back to Azeroth.
Sacrifice herself, but even though that time failed, they still got a few light pawns on Azeroth already. Why was Illidan called the child of the light and the shadow, the prophecy, and what would happen if Illidan really was converted? Because literally everything would be so different.
Oh yeah, it would be different.
Did you know you can play WoW on your phone? You can check in on your characters, you can play the game, you can even do minor things you don't really want to do on the PC. With this video sponsor, Awesome, allowing you to control your PC with your phone completely free, available for Windows, iOS, and Android. Awesome is incredibly easy to use. Check out my link in the description, download the PC.
See, if Awesome ever came to me, my ad would be, have you ever wanted to play WoW while shitting? Now you can play WoW on the shitter, WoW on your phone. Use Awesome.
For various games other than just WoW, and you can enjoy AFK gaming at any time, anywhere with Game Sound. Make sure to use my code Doran to get 7 days completely free, only for the first 200 people. They also got a smart plug to turn off your PC at any time, as well as hot sales with up to 40% off on Pro and Game versions. Check out Awesome. The most important thing I want you to understand with this iconic Zera Light Illidan reforging scenario, the very iconic cinematic, was that with the World Soul Saga and us knowing what is to come and the Light Void battle that is imminent, the battle that was claimed by Chris Metzen to be like the ultimate showdown set to happen on Azeroth soon, it obviously shines a different light upon this event. Literally, previously, the idea was that Zera was trying to turn him into an empowered soldier, a really strong weapon for the Light Army, but when we take the recent happenings into account, Midnight and the Last Titan, there is almost certainly something much bigger at play here. So, a super quick background on the event itself is that the Light Army and Zera in particular were super desperate to get Illidan. Lore-wise, they were nearing the brink of destruction, and Zera saw Illidan as like the ultimate savior, the prophecy that would change everything. She called him the child of the light and the shadow, the light.
I mean, at the end of the day, you see the shadow and the light constantly trying to gain new weapons, right? I mean, honestly, I see Illyria as one that the shadow believes that they can gain as a weapon, right? The Void, I think, has been watching Illyria. We even saw Xal'atath mention the caterpillar has become a butterfly, when she talks about Illyria finally gaining powers through the Void. We know that the light and the Void are constantly vying to get better weapons, right? To get better... and Illidan is obviously a powerful weapon. Why wouldn't the light want that? He freaking one-shot who was it? Oh my god. Gul'dan. Yeah, he one-shot Gul'dan pretty easily. And he's freaking powerful as shit. He's probably one of the most powerful beings on the planet. He fought the Lich King, honestly, pretty well. I think he got a bit overconfident. He lost the fight because he underestimated Arthas at that point. But he's a powerful being, so why wouldn't the light have wanted him?
Mother Zera literally sent out her own heart into Azeroth in order to get him, so you can understand that this was a significant act of desperation, like last resort type thing. Now, you may be thinking, I mean, really? I mean, Illidan is a pretty powerful guy, but he's not like the world soul of Azeroth, he's not Sargeras or anything on a crazy cosmological power level. I mean, imagine if a Titan was willing to sacrifice himself in order to just get some guy from Azeroth. You would think that guy was a pretty big deal in the grand scale of cosmological things. In fact, there's so many more powerful or just as powerful figures on Azeroth itself that could be used for the exact same purpose if the purpose was a weapon. So the Prime Naru, one of the ultimate leaders of the light as a cosmological force, decides to personally come down and ultimately even sacrifice herself for this purpose. She must have known something that we don't, or something that we didn't know until now. I want to introduce one thing into the conversation here that is going to be a huge reveal on what her line of thinking was, and that is one word: prophecy. If you notice something that is really iconic with the light that always comes back and back again, it is that they have this strange obsession with predicting the future, and they're sort of successful about it. I mean, you know what Velen is called? A prophet. That is something he can...
Yeah, look, the light is very particular about predicting the future, but I think that's because it's trying to point people towards the future that it wants. The light is, you know, it's always been described as basically, I guess, one truth. And the void has always been described as seeing many truths. The void doesn't care to have one path forward. It kind of likes the chaos of not knowing the path that's going to be taken forward. Whereas the light is very much like a one way. There's one way to do this, and it has to go this way. I think those, you know, prophecies and things that are revealed to things like Velen, they're just the light kind of telling people this is the future that you should go for. This is the one that we want to happen. So this is the one we're going to let you see. That's why I've always joked about Norse Dormu being a shitty future teller. He never knows what the hell is going on except the one true path that the Titans let him see. And that was how it always was.
Got to do his time with the Naru. Now,
whereas Murazan could see many futures, and we always stop that shit from happening, even though we should probably let it happen.
There is a theory that the light might have worked together with someone like Amantul of the Titans, that had granted them powers of this sort of similar to what he might have given to Primus in the past.
It's all about balance, Desi.
I think the Naru are actually like really capable of fully predicting the future. I do think they have a sort of a vague superpower to do something like this, but it isn't really fully accurate, but they believe in it like 100%, so sometimes the future does actually get fulfilled. That is why the light is so fixated on one single vision, on one single truth.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
If we do take their fortune-telling skills into account and we take them for granted and we say they are accurate, you can kind of see here that Zera was actually genius, as in she totally saw the World Soul Saga coming. We know for a fact the Titans are coming to Azeroth in the last Titan with Illidan and Sargeras that are going to play a huge role in like the ultimate battle that he's been building up, and if one of these major players was a light pawn, you can see that it will be a really big asset to the light as a cosmological force. In fact, such a big asset that the Prime Naru decided to actually sacrifice herself to try and achieve this goal. Quick, the crash here, I know you may be thinking like that is
sacrifice herself. I don't know if Zero knew she was gonna die. I don't know if Zero knew how that Illidan had that level of strength that he was gonna kill her. I think he surprised her.
Blizzard really thought about this 10 years ago.
Definitely surprised everyone in the room.
In on this long game, and I do kind of agree. I mean, they may be trying to tie together now, but what is also interesting is that Chris Metzen left around this time when Zera was relevant and when this entire story was written, and it seems like he is the actual brain behind the World Soul Saga as the lead narrative guy now, and the entire World Soul Saga really seems like a sequel to Legion, so it is possible that these were some of his original ideas of how he saw the future of Warcraft that ultimately, unfortunately, ended up going the Shadowlands route. But I digress. The other really important thing you can tie in with Illidan as a light pawn is the really popular theory right now, and that is that the light already has 2 other pawns planted on Azeroth. You can check out my full videos on the details here, but with the events that happened in the past 2 years, it is really interesting, intriguing that the 2 main Horde and Alliance characters...
Kalia gotta have one of the best models in the game. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, that is... Jesus.
The 2 main Horde and Alliance characters that are controlling the south and the northern part of the Eastern Kingdoms, where the light and the void will soon come, are all light figures, Kalia and Terrellian. The most important point here is that these leaders are not light followers, they're not paladins, they're not priests or anything of the sort, they are light forged. Terrellian
basically that's the sound I make.
Light forged, and that is what is keeping him alive, and Kalia Manatil was the only ever undead created by the light. A powerful Naru literally can pick her, decided to resurrect her through Anduin. Interestingly enough, the only ever Naru we know of that reverted from the void cycle back to the light and turning back to a Naru again. So if we take the Light's fortune-telling skills into account, is it really so outrageous to say that they knew these two characters would come into position of power only a few short years later, which is why they decided to implant their agents here? Would you not want two major leaders to be your puppets if you know something big is happening?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were pawns placed on the board of chess, you know, to be pushed into their positions a long time ago. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Light was trying to do that. The one that I kind of question maybe a little bit is Kalia. Turelian is surely, you know, he is most devout to the Light. He is all giving to he cares most about the Light. He believes the Light is all truth and all good and all that. So he definitely, I think, is a pawn of the Light. Kalia is still, I'm questioning. She was B-resed by the Light, essentially, brought back to life. But is she a servant of the Light? I think we'll have to wait and see. She definitely seems to have some desire for the throne in Lordaeron, which would definitely favor the Light in that case.
Especially two major leaders on the continent where the invasion is set to happen. You really want someone that has access to the ground forces that can support the invasion
That's what I think
from
too.
that side. Additionally, the recent 10.2.5 hints show that Anduin seems to be sort of hiding from Turelian, which furthermore adds on to this theory. So, if we do say a plan like this is actually true, what would happen if back in Legion, Illidan didn't break free from the Light chains and destroy Zera, but instead, he actually accepted the gift? Before we get into Illidan, the main thing to keep in mind is that Zera would of course still be alive, one of the main Light leaders, if not the main one, and also the more fanatical side, and it is likely by this current point in time, we would have seen the more fanatical side of the Light as well. It is also possible that she might have played a more direct role in the defeat of Sargeras and that the events would turn out completely differently, making it really impossible to predict at this point in time. However, on the side of Illidan, personally, event-wise, I don't think that much would really change. I think the Legion would still be defeated, possibly in a different way. Sargeras would still be in prison, but some big things really do come into question. First of all, what is certain? Illidan would be purified by the Light. He would no longer have his demon hunter powers. He couldn't use spell magic and would be
I mean, what I think about the Naru's, you know, Zero trying to force the Light on him, that was like our first inclination that the Light wasn't all good. Now, we already had hints about that. We already had a feeling about that, but that was like, you know, plain to see that here the Light was basically saying, serve us. You know, you don't have a choice. We're about to make you serve us, kind of thing. And Illidan clearly showed them, well, he did have a choice and all that. He did what he did. Like I said, though, I don't think Zero knew that he was going to be powerful enough to destroy her. I really don't.
Completely different character, but that isn't some
clearly things would have been different.
I mean, it's not like Illidan was the one that personally defeated Sargeras, or that his personal power was really that relevant to the grand scheme of things. The real question is, would the Titans allow Illidan to become the jailer if he was Light forged and a Light agent? And that is such a difficult thing to answer right now, because we never really knew the connection between these two cosmological forces. Some say they are allies, so if that is the case, it would happen, but if not, if they were neutral, they might not want a Light agent so close to the seat of the Pantheon and so close to Sargeras. One of the things people have talked about is that Illidan would not even be a jailer at all, and instead he would essentially be used as an Azeroth's version of Yrel. Remember, Yrel that turned out
Yrel, oh my god, yeah, that's right. She's a horrible... Yeah, she's another Light agent that's... Well, she hasn't gone rogue. I think she's gone completely Light. Like, she is pushing the Light on everybody, and the Light has no... We have no inclination that the Light has told her to stop. Or the Light has left her. We know the Light has the power to basically leave somebody, right? To stop answering the call, all that stuff. It certainly hasn't done that with Zira. I think it's pushing her forward. Or not Zira, sorry. It hasn't stopped, right, with Yrel. She's still going forward with her thing, and she still has the power of the Light behind her. So I think they like what she's doing.
Draenor into a huge base for the Light Army that completely conquered the planet, but I wouldn't see such a fanatical invasion happening immediately. If you read the lore about how alternate Draenor was conquered, it wasn't really overnight. It took many years, and it happened in a ton of subtle ways. So, in the case he wasn't the jailer of Sargeras, my best guess is that he would be a figure, something akin to Turelian, and he would be yet another powerful potential pawn on Azeroth that could be turned in the ultimate battle that is to come. Eventually, you know, they would start slowly pumping the Light propaganda until it is time for the big things, and I think they would all be assisted by Zera directly, which is of course a huge thing. Still, I don't think Zera was aware of the Light.
610, you said it's shocking that Yrel comes up despite the entire Light It's shocking how much Yrel comes up despite the entire Lightbound Draenor thing is a pretty short quest line justifying the Magar orcs. The community just can't let it go, but it's crazy. You know why it's shocking, 610? Like, why people are shocked by it? Because we left Yrel as a hero. Like, we left Yrel in a good spot with the orcs. She was one that helped us liberate the orcs. She helped us throughout that whole expansion. And then all of a sudden we go back and she's a completely different person. We have no idea how the hell things ended up the way they did. What? She didn't just do a 180. She did a 360 into darkness, man. It was crazy what happened with her. We go back, we didn't even recognize what the hell's going on anymore. And it's like the light that has pushed her in this direction. It's like the first example of complete insanity to the light that we've witnessed. And so, I mean, you could talk about the Scarlet Monastery and how they use the light in an evil way and everything else, but the fanaticism of Yrel, that was shocking. It was shocking. And it was, yes, just a quest for the Magar orcs, but something I'm sure that's going to come up again.
Void battle that will happen at midnight, and she would have really sped things up. However, if Illidan did remain as the jailer, things would be
Wasn't that
so
an alternate timeline, though? What do you mean? Well, Yrel is the only Yrel we know lives in that timeline. There is no alternate Yrel that we know of. She is Yrel. It was not an alternate timeline to Draenor. It was the Draenor timeline. Wait, when was the turn? We don't know. We go back to the Magar orcs, you know, to get them or whatever for the Horde or to help them out, and we realize what the hell's going on now. So sometime between when we left Draenor and when we came back for the Magar Orc quest line, Yrel turned. The light came to her and told her something. We don't know what happened, and everything changed. And she started basically telling people, you got to come to the light or you're going to die. And she was executing people for not joining her side.
Comes to the plans of Zera and their predicting abilities, I don't really think
you thought it was more for shock factor than set up for anything in the future.
The
light kind of has been going in that direction.
Shadow, but she knew about the Void, aka the shadow battle that is to come at midnight, and the ultimate arrival of the Titans and the world soul and all these crazy things that are going to happen. This is really what the Light Army was about. We, as the players, as the mortals, saw the defeat of Sargeras and the Legion as some big crazy event that saved the universe, because that is what it was in our eyes. They were saving the world. However, for these cosmological players that have been living for hundreds and thousands of years, if not millions, this was literally just another battle, a stepping stone in the grand scheme of things. I mean, even Sargeras was aware of this, which is what caused him to stab Azeroth, but that is a topic for another video. In regards to the light, they knew Sargeras' defeat was imminent, and they want to bank in on real estate on Azeroth and preparing for the real battle that is yet to come. Now, of course, if Light Illidan is the jailer, it's nearly impossible to predict it at this point in time because so many crazy things are going to happen at midnight in the Last Titan, but I'd imagine having someone really close to the seat of the Pantheon, someone really close to Sargeras, would be a huge asset. They might have even tried to light purify Sargeras himself and then turn him into a light weapon. Personally, I don't think it will be impossible, although it does sound a little bit outrageous. I mean, sure, he's a crazy powerful guy, but 2 years of prison, he would have lost a lot of his power, the Feld might have left him, it dissipated, and he would be on a scale just large enough where he could actually be converted. Still, just this one single event of Illidan actually accepting the gift, as they call it, would be a huge change to the entire Warcraft universe. Not necessarily when it comes to the Legion or the defeat of Sargeras, but what is yet to happen.
They could be trying to light purify Sargeras. I mean, I've seen Pyro talk about this, how, you know, when they summon Sargeras finally to the throne and Illidan's standing in front of him, that beam, right, the beam that's coming down on Sargeras, look at this shit. I mean, this thing doesn't stop. Look, he's clearly in the seat now, but this beam keeps coming down. Hardcore beaming. It's still coming. You can tell from the glow. It is still coming down on him. So, like, I mean, what they're doing to him in that moment, what's happening to him, I think it could be more than just teleportation. Or whatever it is, summoning him down to the throne. That shit, that's like that thing's still coming down on him. So maybe they're trying to light purify him. Who knows? But what I do know is if they are trying to light purify him, Illidan won't be having that shit.
Soon
he sees right through the light.
Are going to find out. Thank you for watching.
Maybe
check out
light
the
forging
and
alternate
Mortal Saga by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient colonies in Spain by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
They could be trying to light forge Sargeras. Who knows? But definitely, I mean, the light is always about creating more weapons, more pawns for itself. So I wouldn't be surprised. Reordering him, yeah, it could be another thing they're trying to do. Maybe dominating him. You know, we all know Aman'Thul's all about that domination magic. So they could be trying to do that too. But the one thing that I think will save Sargeras, if any of that's happening, Mr. Illidan. Standing there because he knows a lot, man. He's a very knowledgeable character. He knows about domination magic. He knows about the light and its faults, and he certainly knows about Titans and their order and everything. At least that he's finding out more about it. That's for sure. So we'll have to see. Great video from Doran, though.